I want to talk about Jeff Bezos. Mr. Bezos, this guy, richest man on the planet. That's right, richest man on the planet. Makes more money in a second than most people make in a week. That's the new statistics coming out. He is stepping down. Rather, has stepped down? I think he's already stepped down as of today, or maybe it was yesterday. Anyway, he announced it a couple months back. I actually talked about it. Now it's official. He ends his extraordinary run in charge of Amazon. And here's a nice little graph. Starting in July in 1995, the first book sold. In 94, he drives from New York City to Seattle to, I guess, start Amazon from a garage where he sold his first book online. All the way up to, boom. Let's see. July 5th, he steps down. So it is. As of yesterday, he stepped down. But look at this. Let's see. Let's follow it up. We got initial public offering, one-click shopping launch. Launch of first international sites in Britain and Germany, going worldwide. Then we got the .com bubble burst. Marketplace launch in 2000. Let's see. Prime memberships opened in 2005. March 2006, Amazon Web Services. 2007, we got Amazon Fresh grocery store launch in Seattle. Launch of Price Check barcode reader app in 2010. Oh, in 2007, they had the first Kindle ever. Then the Kindle Fire went in 2011. See, they bought Kiva. I don't know what that is. A warehouse robotics company. To get ready for the future of controlling all shipping. 2012. 2014, they bought Twitch. Fire phone launch. I didn't know they had a phone in 2014. 2015, breaks out the AWS numbers for the first time. 2017, they buy Whole Foods. I don't know what HQ2 is. In September 2017. In 2018, raises minimum wage in the US and Britain. That's actually pretty great. What's interesting, though, is this the annual revenues here just skyrocketing. But then look over here. Annual net profit is almost nothing the whole time. And even now is just starting to make billions. It's so funny. When I say it out loud, it's just like, well. All right, anyway. Let's see. In Jeff Bezos' last annual letter to shareholders as chief executive of Amazon, published in March, he encouraged his company, other firms, and people to pay attention to a basic fact of biology explained by Richard Dawkins, an evolutionary biologist. That is, living things must work hard to be different from their environments just to stave off death. The world wants you to be typical, wrote Mr. Bezos. Don't let it happen. Amazon's story is anything but typical. Thanks to Mr. Bezos' requirement that employees at the firm approach every day as if it were day one at a youthful startup. Revenues have continued soaring past the point where most companies head for equilibrium, stagnate, and decline. Mr. Bezos' first strange notion of selling books on a new medium called the web was succeeded by others. It was after Amazon came up with the outlandish idea of renting its own computing infrastructure to other firms in 2006 that things really took off. The result, Amazon Web Services, AWS, now the world's undisputed leader in cloud computing. This is used by banks, investment firms, like basically, I mean, what Parler got booted off. I'm pretty sure Twitter and YouTube are on these. I'm not sure exactly about the Twitter and YouTube, but Parler was using it and they got booted off. And so they had to fight to get their own. That's why Gab went and built its own everything so that it didn't need to rely on Amazon. Yeah. True, it was not Mr. Bezos himself who dreamt up AWS, but the corporate culture in which a junior engineer could get an original idea heard and funded was all his. The widening gap between Amazon's profits and its revenues is another differentiator. For well nigh two decades, the company reported derisory profits? I don't know that word, actually. Preferring to reinvest in growth. But in recent years, AWS's high margins have provided profits as well as growth. In 2020, the pandemic accelerated a long-term trend towards online activities, such as e-commerce, logistics, and cloud computing, and pushed Amazon's revenue up 38% to another record of $386 billion. Mr. Bezos' move to an executive chairman is well-timed. He is going out on a high, but Amazon's faces mounting problems, regulatory scrutiny, labor unrest, and, in some parts of the empire, maturing businesses. As Mr. Bezos tells it, Amazon's future depends on whether his successor as chief executive, Andy Jassy, currently boss of AWS, proves equally atypical. Well, we'll see. I guess we shall see, won't we? This guy makes an interesting point. Just a random statistic. This is Joe Pompliano. He is a sports money breakdown. He writes an article about it. With Jeff Bezos officially stepping down, here is a wild stat. At a net worth of $200 billion, Jeff Bezos could buy every single NFL, NBA, and NHL franchise and still have a few $1 billion left over. That is rather incredible, Joe. Incredible. And then here's another thing that people are freaking out about. You know who is definitely freaking out about this? Bernie Sanders. Of course, he was like, he had to retweet this. Well, no, he didn't retweet it. He said this in a tweet and then said, tax the billionaires. Don't tax the millionaires, just the billionaires. Although, I agree, tax them all. If you're making that much money, I mean, the funny thing is we do tax them. But the billionaires, I mean, do you really need $1 billion? I don't have $1 billion. I don't have $1 million. But do you need $1 billion? Do you need $200 billion? Jeez. Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO. The billionaire retired on Monday. Where is it? Let's see. Where's the stat? According to Buh Bye, Bezos makes every second what the average American worker makes in a week. The average weekly salary is just under $1,000. That means for every breath Bezos takes, he's putting $1,000 in his pocket. $1,000 in Bezos' pocket. Another $1,000. That's crazy. Bezos' net worth is $39,489. 39,489 times larger than the average for a 65-year-old American. That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, he's rolling in the cash. Yeah, Daily Caller. These guys are crazy. I don't really, they're just like following through with the ads. Yeah, Daily Caller. Dude's rich. Dude's rich. Does he need that much money? Does he need it? Probably not. Probably not.